Deloads, like, is that something you implement?
Deload for what?
Like a deload week, like a traditional week where you go into the gym and you kind of just go through the motions, you decrease your weight, you decrease your maybe effort to allow for recovery. Cause that's a very popular thing, at least in, yeah, that's a very, yeah. So you're laughing. Okay. So talk about that briefly, if you want to touch on it. Cause I think it's interesting. I mean, we know you train 3 days per week now. In your prime, you were training upwards of 4 days, 4 days per week. 4 days. Okay. And yeah, so talk about this concept of deload weeks and just recovery in general, how you implemented certain aspects for recovery.
Well, I'm just not open to a deload. Again, it's one of these things that's sprung up. People are starting to incorporate words that, you know, oh, we deload this, we'll do a refeed, we'll do a back feed, we'll do a front feed, we'll do a side feed.
Side feed. That's funny.
Come on.
Okay.
It's really simple. This is where people are trying to overcomplicate a very simple premise. From a deload perspective, I understand the need to pull the weights down, which is possibly where I touched on it slightly with a pre-exhaust. I might do a week where my loads are slightly lighter, but that doesn't mean I don't hit that failure point as well. So you've still, because otherwise, I don't know when you meant to do these deloads. Are they every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks?
Traditionally, that's like every we'll say 6 to 12 weeks, depending on.
Let's say 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, you've got 8 of those a year, haven't you? 9 a year. So that's 8 or 9 weeks of the year that you ain't going to be training as hard as I'm going to be training. And some people go, well, you're just arrogant in what you're saying. You're gonna bust yourself up. You're gonna have more injuries. Now I get injuries because I wasn't understanding what I was doing correctly, but I can make damn sure that I'm going to be training harder than you every time in the gym. The deload will only occur when you reduce the load, but the intensity level will always be there. It has to be. You've got to keep pushing the body. In my opinion, you've got to keep pushing the body. I don't see the reason not to. If people feel they need a deload week, how many times are they training in the week because they need a deload week? I train 3 or 4 days a week, as I said, so I don't need a deload week. If you're training 6 or 7 days a week, it might be a little bit different. Maybe you are overtraining. Have you ever thought of that? You know
what this is? You're not the first to explain it like this, actually, because even when I spoke to, you're familiar with Ben Howard. He's in your neck of the woods, right?
Yeah.
Because he trains 3 days per week, he doesn't do deload weeks. He doesn't even feel like he needs it, right? Nope. So it is interesting because I think frequency of how often are you training will probably influence that to will influence that to a massive degree.
Yeah.
And it's usually when I'm pushing training. Do you find that the failure thing, at least training to failure, like you find that after like 4 or 5, 6 weeks, because of the frequency, again, because you're training 3 to 4 times per week, you don't need to back away from the failure thing due to the fact that you just have those 3 to 4 days of recovery. And right?
Exactly. You can completely go for it.
So give an example of, because you brought the leg training example. Now you're still training to failure. Give a little sample if you don't mind, because I'm curious how it differs from maybe a traditional, maybe how Dorian Yates would approach leg training and how he trained everything all out per exercise, we'll say 1 set per exercise, and